Michelle Obama has openly admitted that she and Barack sleep in separate bedrooms. Here's how it works. She sleeps downstairs, and he likes men. Chinning. The weather. Let's do a monologue. Rumors continue to escalate for the Obamas. Hopefully they can settle it like men.
The name Michelle Obama. For years it has been synonymous with an almost untouchable aura of grace, an emblem of progress, and a figure so universally admired that even a whisper of dissent felt like a societal taboo. She was the one who could do no wrong, walking through life on a gilded pedestal, her every public utterance lauded as wisdom, every sartorial choice a fashion statement for the ages. The mainstream media, it seemed, had collectively decided that to question her was to question the very fabric of hope itself, an act of unforgivable blasphemy. But what if that meticulously sculpted image, that carefully constructed narrative of perfection, was nothing more than a masterfully executed illusion? What if the woman hailed as a modern-day icon was, in fact, harboring secrets, contradictions, and hypocrisies that the public was never meant to see? Prepare for a truth-seeking tornado unleashed by the sharp wit of Greg Gutfeld and the relentless journalistic rigor of Megyn Kelly, a force that came crashing into this carefully curated world, exposing the uncomfortable realities lurking beneath the polished surface and proving that even the most gleaming facades can hide the darkest, most unsettling truths. This is the story of how the Empress of Inspiration was suddenly caught sweating under the unforgiving spotlight, revealing truths far messier than kale chips, and forcing us all to confront the uncomfortable, often shocking gap between perception and a very different reality.
And my goodness, you want to talk about the most overrated political hype of a generation? It would go to Michelle Obama. Anyway, that's just a side note that's been on my mind for a while.
I'm happy to make fun of her look. It's very strange. It was Benny Johnson who dubbed that one hairstyle the Stegosaurus.
I'm not getting into that.
She like 3 bumps on the back, Stegosaurus. It's very strange.
Michelle thinks American men suck.
Let me warn you, your rage does not exist in a vacuum. If we don't get this election right, your wife, your daughter, your mother, we as women will become collateral damage to your rage. To the women listening, we have every right to demand that the men in our lives do better by us. We have to use our voices to make these choices clear to the men that we love. Our lives are worth more than their anger and disappointment.
What's that pitter-patter sound I'm hearing in the background? It's the footsteps of Barack running to vote for Trump.
The carefully maintained illusion of a picture-perfect union, a model of American partnership, began to fray at the edges, not just through unsubstantiated internet chatter, but through Michelle Obama's own surprising, self-inflicted admissions. For years, hushed whispers, often dismissed as baseless conspiracy theories, have circulated online about the intimate state of the Obama marriage, from persistent speculation about separate bedrooms to broader, unverified questions about compatibility. Yet, it's Michelle herself who has, on multiple public occasions, chosen to elaborate on her profound marital struggles, even confessing to disliking Barack for a full decade during their time in the White House. This astonishing candor, while often framed as relatable honesty, inadvertently casts a deep shadow over the idealized partnership the public was fed, a partnership that underpinned their political narrative. It pushes one to consider if the widespread, almost deified adoration she receives is truly earned, or if it's the result of an overrated political hype, a meticulously constructed public image that has little to do with the deeper, more challenging truths of her private life. Even her distinctive, often discussed fashion choices and evolving hairstyles, like the now infamous Stegosaurus cut that sparked internet amusement with its strange, prominent bumps on the back of her head, serve as minor, yet persistent, reminders that her public persona is a subject of constant, if quiet, scrutiny, far from the universally admired figure she's presented as. These superficial elements, picked apart by online commentators, highlight how every facet of her image, even her hair, becomes a point of contention when the underlying reality is perceived as inauthentic.
So, Kat, they know that they're having a hard time with men.
Right.
Doesn't seem like this is the right strategy.
No.
She basically says that they're hurting women by voting for Trump.
But I think they don't understand that where it comes from in the first place is that people are sick of being told how bad they are and talked down to, and
Republican women are too dumb to make up their own minds about President Trump. They did it because they're men. Told them to after that ridiculous, remember that ad the Democrats ran with Julia Roberts voiceover where the women
I remember.
like secretly,
it's our little secret. Yep,
yeah, this is what they think of. This is what they think of Republican women.
More brand partnerships than a Kardashian with a TikTok coupon code.
Michelle Obama, listen to this.
And at this phase of my life, I'm in therapy right now because I'm transitioning. You know, I'm 60 years old. I've finished a really hard thing in my life with my family intact. I'm an empty nester. My girls are in, you know, they've been launched. And now for the first time, as I've said before, every choice that I'm making is completely mine. I now don't have the excuse of, well, my kids need this or my husband needs that or the country needs that. So how do I think about this next phase?
Once again, speaking a reference to her time as First Lady negatively, and I'm transitioning. I mean, an interesting choice of words, given how the internet refers to her.
But it's not just her private life facing newfound scrutiny. Her public pronouncements have also come under fire, particularly her recent, profoundly controversial take on American men. Michelle Obama has increasingly stepped into the political spotlight not to uplift or unify, but to scold, dramatically warning that the rage of men could turn their wives, daughters, and mothers into collateral damage. This stark, almost accusatory tone, delivered with an air of profound moral authority and unwavering conviction, seemed less like a call for national healing and more like a thinly veiled, divisive lecture aimed squarely at a demographic she appears to hold in contempt. Greg Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly were quick to dissect the sheer absurdity of this strategy. How could alienating half the population, particularly those already feeling unheard and marginalized, be a viable or effective approach for any positive societal outcome? Her public commentary has increasingly evolved into self-appointed moral lectures, positioning herself as an unofficial national therapist, dispensing bite-sized quotes about hope and belief from a metaphorical self-help kiosk in a collapsing mall. This often condescending approach extends even to her perceived views on Republican women, whom she implicitly suggests are too dumb to make up their own minds, incapable of independent thought, and merely vote as their men tell them to. A sentiment starkly highlighted by the infamous Julia Roberts voiceover ad, where women supposedly shared a little secret. It's a narrative that doesn't just divide, it deeply insults, undermining the very women she claims to empower and exposing a profound disconnection from a significant portion of the American populace.
17 and a half years, and not one was bad. I think she and he married the wrong people.
I think you're 100% right. This is only her third episode. I can't think of anybody I would go to for advice less than Michelle Obama. She really doesn't know what she's talking about. First of all, she loves to tell us she hated Barack for a good decade.
Yes.
Okay, please teach me how to have a successful relationship with someone that you clearly respect and admire. Every time she's on the air, it's like, I'm dragging this ball of dead weight behind me. His name, Barack Obama.
They blame gender for her surrender. This week, Michelle Obama scolded female Trump supporters in front of an audience at a business conference in Boston, a city in Massachusetts. She said the former First Lady, quote, "Any woman who voted against Hillary Clinton voted against their own voice. What does it mean for us as women that we look at those two candidates and many of us said, that guy, he's better for me. His voice is more true to me." Well, to me, that just says you don't like your voice. You like the thing you're told to like. I don't get this. No one likes their own voice. Have you ever listened to your own voicemail? It is horrifying.
The sheer scale and sophistication of Michelle Obama's non-political empire is truly staggering, a testament to her unique ability to wield immense influence without accountability. She's meticulously built a vast media and financial machine, boasting multi-million-dollar Netflix deals, best-selling memoirs like The Light We Carry, which, as Gutfeld quipped, sounds suspiciously like a rejected Coldplay album, and a grueling schedule of relentless 24/7 media appearances that would exhaust even the most seasoned presidential candidate. This relentless pursuit of the spotlight stands in stark contrast to her repeated, almost insistent claims of disinterest in politics and a fervent desire to retreat from public life. The hypocrisy, as illuminated by Kelly and Gutfeld, is glaring. She craves all the perks of public adoration, the deification, the unwavering admiration, and the ubiquitous media glow, but seems to actively avoid the direct accountability, the rigorous debate, and the inconvenient scrutiny that inevitably come with actually holding public office. She's been refashioned into a political Barbie, an influencer with national security clearance, leveraging the immense political and cultural capital of her husband's legacy, while seemingly sidestepping direct responsibility for any policy or outcome. Whenever Barack Obama's administration faces criticism or challenges, Michelle conveniently appears, acting as an emotional battering ram with a heartfelt speech about resilience or the struggles of public service. It's a masterful deflection, a political clippy popping up on screen to ask, "It looks like you're being held accountable. Would you like some poetic deflection?"
Bringing me down. I'm trying to elevate myself with like these things on my head.
It looks like Mickey Mouse.
It's so
like
weird.
The two ears up there, these two big balls on the left and the right of her head.
Like, what kind of midlife crisis is she in the throes of right now?
No,
she's constantly.
You see the other one where she had the three balls on the back of her head, and I think it was Benny Johnson was calling it her Stegosaurus cut. That's what it looks like the back of a Stegosaurus.
And you know, the condescension doesn't work. None of what they're doing really works. I mean, the Walls AOC live stream of them playing Madden together was supposed to be to get like dudes who like football on their side, and they did it during football. Like, who's consulting them on this stuff?
Yeah. It's a
woman, probably, also.
It's a gay man.
Adding another complex and revealing layer to this carefully crafted persona is her recent public admission of being in therapy and notably transitioning at 60. While she framed it as a deeply personal journey of self-discovery after leaving the White House and raising her children, the specific word choice of transitioning immediately ignited widespread online speculation, aligning with long-standing, albeit unverified, internet theories that have followed the Obamas for years. Theories that her own words inadvertently fueled. Michelle's consistent portrayal of herself as a weary, burdened saint or a perpetual victim, despite her extraordinary wealth and undeniable privilege, casually lounging in Nantucket reading nooks or basking in the sun at Tuscan villas, strikes many as profoundly tone-deaf and disconnected from the everyday struggles of most Americans. She articulates the immense hardship of being universally admired by billions while sipping sangria with Oprah on a beach, a stark and jarring contrast to the crippling debt and two-job realities faced by the vast majority of her audience. This pervasive narrative of perpetual victimhood, coupled with her consistent criticism of her past role as First Lady or the very nation that elevated her, leaves many wondering, as Kelly pointed out, why she never has a positive word to say about anything. It compels one to ask, why should anyone seek profound life or relationship advice from someone who publicly confesses to hating Barack for a good decade and describes her own marriage as dragging this ball of dead weight behind her? Thus, perceived disconnect between her experiences and the lives of those she presumes to guide is a chasm that few rockets, even Elon Musk's, could bridge.
So she's constantly like hitting that wound of like, are we divorcing? Don't be gossiping about us. You know, I'm just trying to be an independent woman over here. I hate my husband, but I love my husband. But you know, when she's not doing that, so her brother is her podcast co-host. She's constantly berating him. Like every episode, you didn't tell me you were having marital problems. Like he has to explain to her a million freaking times, hey, I was trying to work out my marriage. And if it did work out and I told you what the problems were, you would hold a grudge against my wife for the rest of your days.
Which is real. We all know it.
We all know. Nobody holds a grudge like Michelle Obama.
It's amazing. Every word she says about Barack Obama is negative.
This is where, like, Michelle Obama is kind of full of it. And you know this is true. When Biden announced he was resigning via fax, nothing weird about it, okay? Obama tweeted that they were looking forward to an open primary where they'd pick a nominee. And I know that to be relevant to this story because you could see that Michelle Obama isn't trying. Like, she accused Trump in that same speech of avoiding interviews. On the same night he did a 3-hour interview. That's like accusing Chris Christie of avoiding pizza. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, because when you're thinking of victims of this awful world, you think of Michelle Obama and how terrible we've all been to her. This woman is a one-woman destitution derby. Every time we check in on her at her podcast, she is feeling sorry for herself. She is criticizing Barack Obama or this country. She never has a positive word to say about anything.
Perhaps the most ingenious and frustrating aspect of Michelle Obama's public relations strategy is her weaponized, above-it-all persona. She consistently claims to loathe politics, finding it too messy, too mean. Yet she pops up every single election cycle, like a motivational jack-in-the-box, triggering a media frenzy that would rival a national holiday. Greg Gutfeld sardonically observes that she could spill coffee on a puppy, and MSNBC would hail it as an act of brave, compassionate defiance. The moment anyone dares to voice even the slightest, most logical criticism of her multi-million-dollar motivational roadshow, it's instantly declared sacrilegious, akin to insulting Beyonce during a solar eclipse. This strategy allows her to wield immense, almost unchecked influence. She openly critiques the political landscape and the state of the nation despite her husband presiding over highly contentious policies like the drone strike era and supervising more deportations than a malfunctioning carnival ride. Her public appearances are meticulously choreographed spectacles, every outfit a carefully selected message. Her fashion choices are dissected and elevated into 4,000-word think pieces by Vogue, describing how Michelle wearing yellow signifies sunflowers, optimism, and racial harmony, or how her boots speak truth to power. She is transformed into a prophet descending from the clouds, albeit with better lighting, a full glam squad, and an entourage that could invade a small country. It's a seamless, brilliant blend of celebrity, moral authority, and political sway, all while she insists she's merely here for hope and light and conversations, preferably sponsored by Amazon Prime and moderated by Ellen DeGeneres, blurring the lines between activism and brand endorsement. The palpable condescension woven into her public interactions is perhaps most evident in her attempts to connect with the average American. She tells millions to believe in themselves and use their voices from a balcony somewhere in Tuscany, or her Martha's Vineyard mansion, expecting to be seen as profoundly relatable. Her "I'm just like you" routine fails to bridge the massive gap between her lavish lifestyle and the daily struggles of her audience, a disconnect so vast it becomes almost comical. Even the intimate dynamics of her own family, as surprisingly revealed on her podcast co-hosted by her brother, offer a revealing glimpse into a less than ideal reality. She's reportedly heard constantly berating him about his marital problems on air, seemingly incapable of grasping why he might not want to disclose deeply personal struggles to her, especially given her widely acknowledged reputation for holding grudges. "Nobody holds a grudge like Michelle Obama," was the stark observation from the show, echoing the public perception that every word she says about Barack Obama is negative. This consistent negativity, combined with the perception of her hating Barack for a good decade, makes her a truly baffling source of relationship advice, especially given her self-appointed role as a national beacon of wisdom and unity. She promotes unity with the grace of someone offering you a hug and then subtly stealing your wallet mid-embrace, blaming you for noticing the missing cash. Ultimately, Greg Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly didn't unleash some shocking new revelation that nobody had ever heard before. What they did was far more potent and destructive to her carefully constructed narrative. They simply pulled back the curtain, revealing Michelle Obama as a master illusionist. She's the political equivalent of a magician, pulling profound inspiration out of a hat while your civil liberties, and perhaps your common sense, vanish behind the curtain. Every tearful interview, every meticulously choreographed speech, every book tour framed as a healing session, it's all part of the same meticulously crafted con. You genuinely believe you're watching a selfless leader, a beacon of truth and progress, but in reality, you are witnessing a sophisticated brand activation, a carefully executed public relations campaign. Michelle has taken this operation of politics to such absurd heights. It seems only a matter of time before she launches her own line of resilience water with electrolytes and a QR code for voter registration, all designed to heal the nation while staying completely out of politics. When critics dare to point out her glaring contradictions, her PR machine immediately deploys its foghorn labeled racism, a deafening blast designed to drown out any logical criticism with emotional buzzwords and carefully crafted candlelight. Montages. Michelle Obama is the most beloved non-candidate who campaigns harder than actual candidates, living a lifestyle of extraordinary luxury while constantly preaching for others to do better. Her power isn't derived from transparency or genuine connection. It's entirely built on the illusion of it. This isn't empowerment. This is an elaborate act, so next time Michelle Obama tells you she's just here to help people, remember that her help often comes with a matching multi-million-dollar media campaign, a lucrative book signing tour across sold-out stadiums, and quite possibly a high-profile Target collaboration, all designed to cement her image while subtly advancing a political agenda. In this new era, public service has been redefined. It means never having to explicitly say you're running for office while simultaneously running every damn thing anyway. The illusion is finally cracking, not with a bang, but with the quiet, persistent drip of truth revealed by those unafraid to speak it. The question remains, what will truly emerge from the shattered image of America's most revered yet deeply contradictory political icon now that the lights have been turned up and the curtain pulled back? And what does it say about a society so willing to believe a carefully constructed narrative even when the cracks begin to show?